Ain't It Cool News presents Ain't It Scary Reviews, a month-long exploration of terror.
Danish director Carl Dreyer received a great deal of praise for his 1928 film, The Passion of Joan of Arc. Many consider it to be a landmark in filmmaking. His next film, 1932's Vampyr, was booed by audiences, was a total financial flop, and it caused the director a nervous breakdown. Although it was considered a disaster for the time, the film's reputation has since rebounded. Now when many critics talk about horror films of the 20s and 30s, it's grouped in with classics like Nosferatu and Dracula. While the narratives of those films are much stronger, Vampyr feels more experimental and rougher around the edges. It also features some surreal imagery that makes it a must-see for fans of early horror cinema. Alan Gray happens to be passing through a small community and stops for the night at a local inn. He is awoken by an older man who walks into his room and leaves him with a parcel. Written on the package are these instructions, to be opened upon my death. Later that day, Gray explores the area and stumbles upon a series of shadows that have no bodies attached to them. They lead him to a large estate, where he sees the old man shot. When Gray opens the mysterious package, inside is a manual about vampires. Our hero must find the source of the vampire attacks before the village succumbs to the devil's villainous plans. What I find most interesting about these classic horror films is the groundwork hasn't been completely established yet for monsters like vampires and werewolves. In this story, the rules of the vampire are laid out by the old man's manual. They don't exactly suck blood with fangs, but they will infect you with scratches and bites. They control the shadows of the sinful dead who weren't good enough to get into heaven. Also, vampires work as an agent of the devil. The ultimate goal is not to turn people into bloodsuckers, but to make their lives so miserable that they kill themselves, a sin which would exclude them from getting into heaven. The most important rule: there is a single head vampire somewhere in the cemetery that comes out at night. The only way to stop it is to put a stake through its heart, connecting it with the earth. Once this occurs, everyone will return to normal. This film didn't have the backing of a major studio like 1931's Dracula. Instead, it was financed by the star of the movie, Nicholas de Gunsberg, an aristocrat who would later go on to be a major force in the world of fashion. Because of the film's independent nature, it doesn't feel very polished. The audio is overdubbed rather than captured during filming, most of the cast haven't acted before, and there aren't any constructed sets, as everything was shot on location. What the movie does have is a surreal style. There are dream sequences with the main character having a ghost-like appearance, skeletons come alive, shadows move independent of their bodies, and creepy point-of-view shots from a corpse in a casket. These elements have come together to set an eerie, macabre mood for the piece. The tone stays consistent, rarely ever letting up. While it may move a little slow and the narrative can become confusing at times, Vampyr will surprise you with its periodic flashes of visual brilliance. Although it may not be as accomplished as its more famous horror contemporaries, it certainly deserves to be mentioned somewhere in the conversation.